Okay, so
Turn off the drawing. Okay.
So the batch was already enabled.
Yep.
And you created one group.
Yep. And then we uncheck group enable, make sure that this says stop. Then we go to our log, and this is where we can name it if we want to, or we can just keep it at the default when we select the tube.
Okay.
At that point. So when you go to log, we want to go to log setup, which why they put that in the middle, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're going to come down here to preset tube.
Okay.
So when you select that, any tube, in this case, we only have one turned on. So we're just going to turn on the first tube, which is under this station ID. Naming.
Okay. So that's the one that falls under flow measure.
Correct.
There,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yep. So when I hit send now, the batch log sensing that it's being connected to a liquid tube is going to auto populate itself. So it's gonna name it by the tube name, which in this case is RMC100. It's going to pull over your log description from that.
Okay.
And then as you go down, it's going to pre-populate all your data points. So if I go to log setup, so right now the record number is 22 in there. The reason why it's that less is because we don't have enhanced mode on. When you turn on enhanced mode, it grabs a lot more data out of it. Just to show you the difference here. I'll turn on the second. Let's see if it actually works. I haven't done it. So usually I have enhanced mode turned on before I do this. Okay, so I'm going to create a different log. Batch. Change that to 2. Because it should be 47. That's what matters. I'm going to go to this group. It's inactive. Here, log setup. Select that tube.
And it's called RMC100 only because we did not name that meter tube.
Yeah, usually when you've got so typically if you only have one tube, it shares whatever the station ID is here, it just automatically grabs that. The only time you can change the tube ID is when you got more than one tube. Typically. I don't know if ABB's fixed that, but it's been a long time since I've had just a single device on there. Okay, what's it? Batch logs. Go to here. Go to here. Okay, so now it's got 49. So that's how much extra data points it grabs when you go to enhanced mode.
So that's the things below it?
Yes. So just here's the difference. Hopefully if it stayed the same. Okay. So you kind of got your core stuff.
Okay.
You got IV, GSV, NSV. The thing missing here is GV.
Okay.
Okay. All the way down. When you go to this one now, you get GV, GSV. I mean, it gives you a lot more data points. So you get your GV start, GV end, GSV start, GSV end.
So that's the beginning and ending of the batch.
Yeah. So if we're doing a truck, or
so whether it's 180 barrels or whether it's from the 1st of the month to the 31st of the month.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. This will be the start and the end of that log, or I call them ticket, just because that's typically what people do. You know, it's the end of the ticket or the end of the. There's another term for it.
Contract month.
Yes, it's something else. Tender. End of the tender, something like that.
It's a term I've heard. I just maybe don't know.
Usually, it's like with tariffs and other stuff, kind of thing, or contracts. And then down here, you can add if what you have up here in the pre-populated stuff doesn't add. Down here, you can add additional items. So you can change this for right now. There's 6 because we got seal on, seal off here. So you can add, say, 15. I want to see additional information. So if I change that to, say, 15, these are user-entered stuff that I can add additional information to.
As part of the ticket.
Yes.
Okay.
So this could be like, if you're doing truck clacks, this could be like truck number versus trailer number. It could be truck mileage. Like you can just pick a data point, you can add it here if it makes sense.
Customer number?
Yes. Or if you have your own custom ticket number that Diamondback has versus what the truck driver has, they can enter those into there. So like Exxon, for example, they do seal 1 as an XTO seal, and then seal 2 is a truck seal.
Gotcha.
So they have those separated out in that way. Okay. So this is set up. So once you got that set up, you'll go back to the group that this is associated in. And before we do anything, we want to make sure we enable it, telling us that looking for some reason why it's going to start batching or logging at that point.
And then do we need to put those batch registers in
yes.
there first?
So if we were going to do something from the PLC.
Let's say the PLC is...
We need to turn on a holding register because apparently this doesn't have any... no. So we're going to have a holding register. I'm not seeing it there. That is something I wish they would alphabetize that so bad. Okay. So if we go to holding registers, we'll just use this as an example. PLC data. We'll say this is start batch. This is stop. We'll just manually trigger this for now.
And then what was that run batch register that they were?
I don't know because I haven't used that yet so far. So I haven't learned for myself what it actually does.
But the start and stop.
Yeah. So these are the two that we're really worried about. Yeah. So we'll add those into the batch log now.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go back to here. Sorry, the group. So we'll do 9.0.1 and then 9.0.2. So we'll send those. All right, so we're going to leave it as trigger type manual because we want these to manually trigger that to start and stop. Okay, so once we're done, we'll enable it, meaning that, okay, this is ready. We're looking for inputs, essentially.
So the data shows up where?
So the data is going to show up in this log. So if you go to here, you got log data. Here is essentially what your log looks like going across, and you can collect this.
Okay.
So, and this is a part I didn't know at the time when I was working with you, but you can collect your batch log data just like your tube data.
Okay.
On that side. So you can do a CFX output on all this.
Okay.
Which I didn't know at the time, and I still have to update Exxon on that because I didn't know what. They're doing it based off every register right now. Which they're going to hate me when I tell them they can do it the other way. So this is essentially what it looks like. So newest comes in on top, oldest will be on bottom. Essentially, so at least I think that's how it goes. I'd have to pull a couple, or it might be reversed. So this is your current data. Or this is your current data. So you want to watch it live. This is your history of how many logs you got. And then this is, if you need to make changes on any of that data, this is essentially your setup page.
Okay, so it's pulling this stuff off from that meter tube.
Correct, yes.
And it just speed fills this stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the preferred route if we can go this path.
Yeah. On
that side. So let's say that you have the Coriolis going to the PLC versus the total flow in this case. As long as you can send over the mod, and you can just mod bus it, there'll just be a slight delay. But as long as we can do the volume flow rate, the density, temperature, and pressure, if we can mod bus those four values out, you can just set up a dummy tube here and then do all this locally on that side.
Okay.
There. And then this will essentially act like a...
when you say a dummy tube, what are you referring to?
I'm calling it a dummy tube, but you can essentially set up a tube in the total flow. When I was saying a dummy tube, it's just... It's not your actual cache. It's like let's say you got a sales point here, but you want to mirror those devices, that tube, just somewhere else. I call that a dummy tube. It's like a virtual tube. But in this case, this would essentially be your actual measurement point. Yeah. Kind of thing. If it's going to the PLC. If it's coming to the total flow, it's better. Because then you can just do this. So
well, in our mind, it just makes sense. You've got the serial server, whatever you want to call it, serial port right on the RMC or the XIO, bring it right in. Yeah. And then farm things out from there.
Yes.
And then we used the XIO, the COM2, to then communicate with planes.
Ah, okay. So they grab whatever data they want from that point. Okay.
Yeah. So that XIO, footprint worked out really well for us.
So I put a 1, and it shows that we're running now.
Okay.
I don't think I ever do anything up here. Yeah, I don't do anything in there. Usually I just come directly to the batch. So here's my current data. We don't have anything going on, so it's not going to do anything. But you should be able, as long as we had something going on, you should be able to see live values.
So what we would do is we're allowing the Allen Bradley to control the valves and the selling to the truck.
Yes.
We would have the Allen Bradley monitor the accumulated barrels for the batch, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then when it got to 180, whatever your set point is, or maybe it's, if they say they want 180 at 170,
yeah,
the Allen Bradley says close.
Yes.
We close. As soon as the Allen Bradley says, hey, I've got to close and no flow rate, it sends a stop batch.
At that time. Yeah.
Yes. And then that stops.
So, and there's 2 registers for them, and then you can do all the measurement
yes.
elsewhere. But they just tell us, they essentially give us a run permit.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
But it's got to be 2 separate registers in this case.
For the start and stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way that they got this broke out. So this is going to act a lot like if you've ever worked with like Omni or FlowX from ABB or controllers like that, this is essentially how their reports work.
Now, next question: is there a ticket that can be generated from this automatically?
Not from the total flow. So this is the ticket. So I've got 2 tickets right now.
Okay.
Right, from what we just ran. So the data is available. So you can run a ticket directly out of your SCADA via CFX, or your HMI Redline has a very good print function. So you can print tickets as well.
Jesse said that he's got a Redline all set up that will email ticket.
And you can email or set up an FTP server with doing that. So you can email like a big group of people. Yes. Server. And Redline handles that very well.
Okay.
So you can print locally, or you can email the ticket to X group of people, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So yes. So you can electronic you can do electronic tickets. You can do via HMI. You can do local tickets print wise with the HMI, or SCADA can do the same thing and email that same group of people.
Gotcha.
From the SCADA side.
Okay.
It just depending on what route you guys want to go.
Yeah.
Because it's the same set of data points, so either way will work.
Okay.
On that. So
so that's the dumb basics of it, huh?
Yes.
Really not very complicated at all.
No. Okay. If we can do it this way, this is the simplest way, which should lead to the least amount of potential errors.
If because we don't have an RMC in that cabinet, we're using an XIO. There is no reason why we couldn't use the RMC over at the tester to do the batch log, correct?
No.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay. I mean, that's not our preferred way of doing it, but we don't really have the space in the cabinet to put an RMC.
But that's absolutely doable.
Yeah. Okay. So as long as somebody doesn't jack up that RMC, which